Summer is just around the corner and many Canadians are taking to the street, heading down south to shop. Same-day travel to the U.S. has never been higher, and that's thanks to a strong Canadian dollar. But with high gas prices and the U.S. dollar gaining ground, will this trend continue? Here to tell us more is Rick Pennycook. He's the president of the Lakeshore Group. Nice to see you again.
Nice to be back.
People are south, but are they going in given the Canadian dollar strength?
I don't think that they are, and I don't think that they'll continue to do that. In terms of retail, things have really changed here from the heyday of cross-border shopping 10, 15 years ago. Most of the goods that people were going across the border for in the stores that they were going to are now here. We have Walmart, we have Costco, we have Nike Town, we have Home Depot. So there's no new factor anymore for that. There's blistering retail competition here in Canada. That's keeping prices low. And then we've got horrendous gas prices. So people that are a couple hours from the border are going to think twice about the cost of gas, wait time at the border, and then prices that are fairly similar to here. It's just not going to be the same attraction factor that it was some time ago.
Does that surprise you, given the strength of the loonie?
It doesn't surprise me. The interesting thing is most of the goods that are filling our from East Asia are Canadian strong against those currencies, so those goods are very cheap. So we're seeing very, very cheap prices in our own Canadian malls and box stores.
But there has been an improvement in the numbers. Some Canadian retailers might say it's not an improvement,
right.
But there has been an increase in the number of shoppers going south.
It has increased, but I don't think we're really sure if they're going for shopping, sort of pure retail shopping, or if there's an entertainment factor, sort of a day out, going to a casino, going to a show. I think that's what's happening. Travel is certainly up. That package tour, that trip down to Florida is certainly cheaper because of the stronger dollar, and you'll pick up the things that you would typically pick up on those trips. But I don't know, and I'm not convinced that that sort of the cross-border day trip just for retail is increasing at a significant rate.
Have Canadian retailers have to change the way that they do business because of so many of the U.S. retailers coming into this space?
I don't think they've changed. They've just continued on in the way the U.S. retailers have operated. Most of them are U.S. brands. We're seeing some European chains come over, but there is very strong competition. We've seen it in have never been lower. Extreme competition in electronics and clothes are just very tough for retailers. It's keeping prices very, very low.
Now, there's no question that March was a good month for retailers.
Absolutely.
We saw numbers were up by 1.5% in March. Do you think that trend's going to continue further into the spring and summer?
I think so. The world economy is pretty healthy right now, and barring a major bump, I don't see anything changing for the summer.
So you expect to see high numbers of people heading south, whether it's for shopping or for a combined trip, as you say?
I would say it'd be more for the combined trip, the entertainment, the travel, the leisure, than a sole trip for retail purchasing.
What kind of impact are you noticing, if any, from rising interest rates? We've been watching the Bank of Canada hike rates, so we've seen 6 in a row. Tomorrow, perhaps we might see a 7th.
Right.
The Fed has also been hiking rates south of the border. Has there been a change because of the scenario of rising rates?
Well, the interesting thing, there's a lot of conflicting out there. The export sector is struggling because of the higher Canadian dollar, but we're seeing this blistering retail domestic sales. So, where we used to be able to forecast pretty distinctly about where rates are going, we can't. It's not a sure thing tomorrow that the rates are going to go up because inflation is being held in check right now.
What about trends overall for spending going into spring and summer? Are we seeing any kind of extra spending in any kind of sector that we hadn't seen before?
Well, auto is doing extremely well. I think that they're probably the bulk of the uptick on the retail side, even with the gas prices. But people are saying, okay, well, maybe the time is now to get that gas miser vehicle. So the auto sector is seeing a really strong uptick.
July 1st is a significant day for shoppers and retailers with the GST being cut.
Right.
What kind of impact do you think that's people really holding off on those big ticket items?
I can't say, but my sense is that they're not going to hold off unless it's a very significant big ticket item. You know, you're not going to hold off on buying a pair of jeans because of the 1% drop, but you might on a car or on a washer, something really, really large.
Will it encourage people to spend more knowing that they're going to have to pay a little less tax?
I don't know. It's not that significant. You know, I don't think people are going to change their spending habits dramatically.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me back.
Rick Pennycook's president of the Lakeshore Group. Coming up, our economist Linda Nazareth tells us what's moving bond and currencies and what to expect from Ben Bernanke later this morning.